Ooby-doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. Today we're going to be looking at Tokina 28 to 70 millimeter 1 to 2.8-4.3 Japan. And this is some emblem of theirs. I don't know what it means. This is a fantastic lens. I got it from B&H. I bought 3 lenses at B&H all at the same time, and this is one of them. It's on a weird mount. It's on a Minolta D mount, and it has the E adapter. So that means it's completely manual with no coupling. It has an index here. So white means 28. And then this orange color means 70 millimeter. So you see you can only go to 2.8. 2.8 is right. So if you're at f11 at 28 millimeters, then you're at f16 at 70 millimeters. This thing was 8 plus. That's how B&H grades it. I think it was better than 8 plus. It was a little grimy and I had to clean it off. The optics are clean. They look really nice. There's no scratches. There's no hazing on the internal elements. But you see this big ring, this is rubber ring. That looks nice, right? But if you look at this ring, the zoom ring, you could tell it's sort of like a concave to it. I don't think it was like that originally. I think it was nice and flat like this one. So it looks like all metal construction to me. I mean, if they're making it for Minolta mount, this is an old lens. So for Minolta world, if you go to f22, then it locks into the aperture priority mode. But since there's nothing for this, that means nothing. Now notice it goes to f22 for 28, but it has nothing for 70. So I guess that means nothing. Does it stop down? Let's see. Can you see that? I don't know why. I guess it's just assumed it's 32. So I went to the park on the 20th of January. And we just had a snowstorm like 2 days ago. And it was 15 degrees out. So I put a fresh battery into the Sony Alpha 3000, which I purchased from KEH. And I'm going to have a little side story with that. I have so many of these lenses and so many adapters, I figure I need an extra camera to keep a lens on, so I just grab and go. So I want to get another Alpha 5000. So I went to look them up, and they're like $300-400 each. I said, oh my God. So I saw this for sale, the Alpha 3000, for $200. And guess what? It's 20 megapixel, just like the Alpha 5000. And it has an eye-level electronic viewfinder. So is the electronic viewfinder worth anything? Well, you could use it. And you could use, for manual lenses, you could use the peaking focus. If you want to use the manual zoom, live zoom, you have to use this screen, which is sort of dopey. So the downside to the electronic viewfinder is it's low resolution. It's adequate enough to frame and compose, and you could see the dials to adjust and all that stuff, but not for much else. And it only has 3 settings for the brightness. Here's nominal 0, +1, -1, 2 steps. So there's more steps on the LCD screen. The LCD screen is only medium resolution. It's not low and it's not high, and it's adequate. This is a totally adequate camera. It took me, I'm on my 3rd time using the peak focusing, and I had to went from maximum peak to minimum medium peak, and then I seem to get better results. And it takes good pictures. It was so bright at the park. It snowed, the sun was out, the sky was perfectly clear. I had to set the ISO to 100, use f11 and f16, and I was using fast shutter speeds. So what's the prognosis of this lens? It's fantastic. I bought 3 lenses from B&H. They're all around $70. They're either 8 plus or 9 plus. So this turned out to be more than an A+. The optics are clean. I don't see any scuffing or markings on the lens barrel. The Japan Camera Inspection Institute were off. And like I said, this rubber band is a little funky, but that's it. The engraving is all legible and it's not dirty. Oh, look at this. It has a macro. The macro starts at 70. Suppose you go down here for close focusing. You only get down to like 2 feet or something. That's pretty, well, bullshit. So if you go like this, you can start to get closer, and that's what focuses it. I had a compatriot of mine called the Frost King, and I loaned him this camera for him to take pictures of frost, because where I live, hell froze over. I mean, we're having single digits at night, 3, 5, 7, and get up to 15 maximum temperatures. That's like hell freezing over. So he borrowed the camera, and he's very careful with it, and he took some pictures of frost. He has one old-fashioned double pane storm window that he lets frost build up on, but he'll explain that more to you in the slideshow that follows. So yeah, I did a couple of brief things with the macro, and I like it. And when a macro starts at the tele end instead of the wide angle, you know you got something special. And if you ever see Tokina, right, you're probably getting a good bargain. Out of all the Tokina lenses I bought, I only got like 2 dogs. One is their mirror lens 500mm f8, and some other one which I just remember right now. But most of them, you can get them in good condition, and you can get them cheap. Okay, so this is fantastic lens, and it's weird that I got an MD mount. Which way do you turn this? I'll have to take it off the camera first. Okay, now let's see what's happening here. There we go. Multi-MD mount. So it does link to a Minolta camera somehow. This is a nice lens. I recommend this lens. Go get one. That's what I tell you. Go get one. Nice lens. f2.8 at 28 millimeters, f4.3 at 70 millimeters. It's easy to focus. It's nice and sharp. Even the corners are nice and sharp. Of course, it was a bright sunny day with snow. I'm using stuff down to f11 and f16. You would think any lens would be good at f11 and f16. But I've seen lenses that aren't so good even at f11 and f16. Almost all lenses are good in the middle of the sensor, but when you get to the corners, they get soft, which is scary because all these vintage lenses were full frame 35mm, and a crop sensor, you'd think they would be perfect on a crop sensor. So those lenses must have been garbage on film unless you stopped them all the way down. So this thing will do 20 megapixels in a pinch. Excellent lens. Really like it, without a doubt. So why don't we just jump into the slideshow, and you make up your own mind. What do you think? This is part A, Frost King. I used the Tokina 28 to 70 millimeter macro, and the macro works really good because it's at the 70 millimeter end. So we had some brutal cold weather, like single digits overnight, and then these decrepit old storm windows I have makes all this frost, which is pretty cool. And of course the A is the full frame cropped to 16:9 and resized to fit this movie format, and the B is a 1:1 crop from that frame. So you can see it did a really good job. I was using f5.6 and f8, and I was hand holding them too, although I was sitting in a chair and leaning up against the windowsill. But just from this I knew it was going to be a good lens. It's a really, really nice lens. It has excellent contrast and fine detail. Oh yeah, I adjusted levels on a lot of them, but that's pretty much it. You know, just to increase the contrast a little bit. It's a really, really nice lens. And it's on a Sony Alpha 3000, sorry, the Alpha 3000. It's much better than the Sigma 35 to 70, that's for sure. I mean, it's a nice lens, and I was very pleased with the results of this frost. So this is the end of part A. Now we're going to part B. The same day, I went to the park after I took care of some business in the morning. I got there around 1 o'clock. It was 14 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, wait a minute. These are in my front yard. Sorry. These are in my front yard. And of course it looks wild. I mean, the snow, you can't tell what the snow is. If you compose your picture, you don't know if it's in the park or not. And it's an excellent lens. I was stopping down more to f11 and f16. Oh, it's a great lens. Okay, here's the park. I didn't get out of the car. There's a road goes down to the lake, and I stayed in my car. There's no one else there. So I put my flashers on. I would just stop when I saw something interesting and take a picture and move on. It was that nice. And look at the sharpness of this detail. All the branches are nice and crisp looking, although I did adjust the levels a little bit. But it's a nice lens at 28 millimeters and at 70 millimeters. Of course, you figure I was shooting at f11 and f16, you would expect it to be good. But I've seen lenses that are pretty crappy, even stopped down. So the deal is, if you could get a Tokina at a reasonable price, grab one. And it doesn't matter what mount it is. Oh, there's typical Tokina flare. Tokina lenses are known for their flare. Flare balls. I guess that's the J.J. Abrams. Used that flare as his model in his movies. But, look at this. This is a great lens with fine detail. And I was shooting in the sun a lot, and I didn't use a lens hood. So here's, look at this. That's 28 millimeters. That's nice. Here's a zoomed up section of that. Here's the same view with the 70 millimeters. It's a nice lens. A really nice lens. And it was so bright, I was shooting at ISO 100 on a lot of them, ISO 200, and I was still using the fast shutter speed. So I didn't get any camera movement by having the boomer jiggles or anything. Really excellent lens. They're totally underrated. Tokina products. Don't be afraid to buy one if you see it. It's really cheap and in excellent condition. They're worth it. They're like a lost leader. Whenever I see a Tokina lens, I just pick it up. They have a whole plethora of 28 to 70s or 35 to 80s, or they have a whole bunch of them like that. But just make sure you get the ones where the macro is on the long side of the zoom. So this way you don't have to get like 1 inch away from something, you're 6 inches away from it. And then usually you could get a life-size picture if you crop it. But I was just amazed at this, like I'm just driving around. I wouldn't get out. It's 14 degrees out. The sun was hot, and the air was so clear that you could feel the sun in your coat. But at the same token, the air was so cold, they balanced out or something. And the slightest breath of breeze, and you get a nasty wind chill factor. But these pictures came out crisp. They came out well-defined branches. Now, that's the thing. All right, I went to the park. I took these pictures. If they come out nice and sharp and everything else, that means you would get the same results on any other subject you're going to use. Of course, I got to take this lens to a town and do some street scenes and storefronts and see how it performs under those conditions. Look at that tree. That's a weird looking tree, isn't it? Look at that. That's a center crop. Wow, that's nice. This is like someone just blew puffy, fluffy stuff on all the plants and everything. And it was really strange snow. It was like these flat crystals. There's another flare ball. I didn't use a lens hood. I'm a dope. So anyway, the snow had like these crystals, and they were flat crystals. It was all fluffy until you start moving around and stepping on it, and then all the crystals, they would lie on top of each other, and it would get very slippery. Oh, it was scary snow. Scary snow. I was very pleased with this lens. I got it from B&H for $70, and I got a winner. And it's on the Minolta MD mount. But I blew the focus on this by using the focus peaking, but in a full frame it looked decent, so that's why I put it in there. But look at all the sharp detail here. It's the B picture, and all the branches are nice and sharp. And I was able to get the depth of field correct, so everything was in focus. I had just the peaking on this Alpha 3000. I had it on high, so I put it on medium. I seem to get better results. But it matters with the lens too. If you get a good lens, the peaking works. Like the Sigma must have had some issues, because I just had trouble hitting the depth of field, sort of focuses right in the middle and gives some foreground and background depth of field. Nice lens. You should pick one up if you see it. Tokina 28 to 70 f2.8 to 4.3 with the macro. It says macro on it. So that's the one you got to get. Nice lens. Highly recommended.